Welcome to your Miami, Florida preview presented by Prize Picks. We're all watching Cam Ward in this game. Cam Ward, the new Miami quarterback, came from Washington State. He was the guy that everybody in the transfer portal wanted. The Hurricanes got him. And the question is, how different will this offense be with Cam Ward, and how different will the offense be that Shannon Dawson runs at Miami from what Cam Ward was used to running at Washington State? Now, Shannon Dawson's an air raid guy. Cam Ward was running the air raid at Washington State, but it's not identical. Cam Ward averaged 40.4 pass attempts at Washington State, averaging 7.7 yards per attempt. That adds up to 311 yards a game. Miami averaged 33.5 pass attempts last year as a team, also only averaging 7.7 yards an attempt. So that adds up to about 258 yards a game. And where is Cam Ward's Prize Picks square for this game? It's at 260.5. So what we're trying to find out is, will this offense be a little bit more explosive than it was last year? Because if it is, he's going to be able to top that. Or do they even throw a little more? Because if they do, and his numbers are fairly similar, he's going to top that. So when I say square, I'm talking about Prize Picks here. So you download Prize Picks. You use the code STAPLES, you play $5, you get an instant $50 to play with, and you pick two or more squares. And so that could be, in this particular game, you could pick Cam Ward and decide if he's going to throw for more or fewer than 260.5 passing yards. Maybe Miami receiver Xavier Restrepo, more or less than 85.5 passing yards. Maybe Eugene Wilson, the Florida receiver, more or less than 72.5 passing yards. It's an interesting one because Eugene Wilson, we think, is going to become the go-to receiver for Florida in the absence of Ricky Pearsall. Last year, he only passed that number in 3 games. He also only averaged 8.8 yards a catch. But Eugene Wilson, when you see him with the ball in his hands, and when he's fully healthy, I think he can surpass those numbers. So these are things you got to keep an eye on. With the Miami offense and the explosiveness of the Miami offense, what this could depend on in the swamp on Saturday is just how stingy or unstingy the Florida defense is. Florida's defense last year was the problem. Florida's actually a pretty good offensive team, but down the stretch, the defense kind of fell apart. Shamar James, the best linebacker on the team, got hurt in warmups for the Georgia game. The last few games, it just got ugly for them. And Florida last year was 50th in the nation in plays of 10-plus yards allowed, but then 71st in plays of 20-plus yards allowed, 123rd in plays of 30-plus yards allowed, and 132nd in plays of 40-plus yards allowed. So the tackling was not great, especially on the back end. They feel better about that now. You've got a healthy James, South Carolina transfer Pup Howard at linebacker, Washington transfer Asa Turner at safety. They feel like they're going to tackle a lot better. If you think Florida's defense is going to be better, then you might be looking at the less than on Cam Ward and Xavier Restrepo. If you think they're not going to be any better, you're probably looking at the more than, and Miami's probably looking at a win. That's the key here. Can Florida get those Miami receivers on the ground when they catch the ball? Because the air raid is an offense that relies on receivers finding green space. There's a lot of short, high-confidence passes before you go deep. The catch is, if you can't make the tackle after those short, high-confidence passes, those can become big gains. So really, it's going to depend on how good is Florida's defense at tackling receivers when they catch the ball, because this is an offense where if you keep it all in front of you and you tackle the receivers immediately as they catch the ball, they may throw a lot, but they may not gain a lot of yards through the air. So that's really where Florida's at. Can they tackle or not? And as you are deciding how you feel about those Miami squares, well, that's where you need to make your decision. Will Florida tackle better? Yes. You may want to go less than. Will Florida be the same in terms of tackling? You want to go more than with those Miami pass throwers, pass catchers. Also, if you want a little high confidence pick of your own, well, Prize Picks is giving you Jalen Milroe, the Alabama quarterback, in his game against Western Kentucky, essentially a free square. As long as he throws for 1 yard, you're going to have the more than on that square. So If you want to go with one of those Miami or Florida picks and Jalen Milroe, you're going to get the Jalen Milroe one most likely. And then you got to get one of the Miami or Florida ones. Of course, if you want to go more than two, it increases the level of the payout as you go up. Give it a shot. This is going to be a fascinating game. Again, can Florida tackle better? Because if it can, then I don't know that Cam Ward goes crazy in this game. And Florida has a really good chance of winning this game. If it's the same defense as last year, then you're going to see Cam Ward throw for a bunch of yards. That's the beauty of week one. Lots of new players, lots of new teams. We don't know exactly how it's going to go, but that one's going to be a fun one to watch. Thank you so much for watching. Just a reminder, subscribe to this channel right here so you never miss an episode of Andy Staples on 3. And oh, by the way, watch all the other great videos on the On3 Sports YouTube channel.